On. Hey guys, welcome to the Game Precast, episode 14. My name is Frank. I'm joined here by Mike. This is our podcast where we talk about all things gaming. This week we got quite a few topics. I know I say that every week, but recently there's been a lot of news, and I'm shocked because this time of the year there usually isn't much going on, but for some reason we still have a lot of topics. I know we like to start the show off talking about what we've been playing recently. Mike, what's been going on with you?
Just Hitman 3,
That's it.
pretty much. I mean,
It's the
I've
grind.
just been doing challenges, getting mastery for all the Hitman 3 levels, and then I moved on to some 1 and 2 levels. I got times 17 Silent Assassin suit only, so I got like the classic black suit, and I don't know, I'm just addicted. I just keep playing for the sake of playing. I really have no justification other than that. I did re-download though the HD. Well, they say it's a remaster, but it's more just like an upres of Hitman Absolution and Hitman Blood Money. And Blood Money is still so good as just as I remember it. Absolution is pretty much still as linear and shitty as I remember it,
Yeah.
but they're still like just fun to mess around with. But yeah, it's just pretty much been Hitman. How about you?
Been on the Hitman grind. So
Yeah.
for me, I beat the medium. And now, if you remember in last week's episode, I just talked complete shit about the medium. And I said, maybe
hmm
the second half will change my opinion. Well, the second half of the game changed my opinion. The second half of the game is so much better. It is unbelievable. It's just, I don't want to spoil because I know you haven't played it yet. I know there's probably a few people watching who might be interested in it. And I talked about it in my review, pretty spoiler free. But gameplay, different characters that get introduced, the actual story starts making sense. It is so much better in the second half. It's unbelievable. Um,
That's surprising considering how you're talking about it last week,
yeah,
because
it's
you were
just
kind of just
like
dogging
completely
heavily.
changed my opinion the last 2 hours of the game. But was it a great
Is
game?
it worth it?
No.
Is it worth
Is it
playing up?
worth it for if you're playing on Game Pass? Yes. If you're buying it for
Okay.
$50, no.
Well, no, I
Um,
mean for like me to like, is it worth to play up to that point just to get to that final 2 hours?
well, I mean, considering the game's only like 4 hours, I mean,
It's
I
only 4 hours?
it's like 4 or 5 hours. It's
Oh, I thought it was
relatively,
longer than that.
yeah, it's a pretty short game. So I would
That's
say it is probably worth it, especially since you like horror.
oh,
And
absolutely.
I say horror, is because it's barely a horror game, but you will have to play, find out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it can entice me again, we'll see.
But besides that, I also played and beat Halo 4. That was the first time ever playing that campaign. And I mean, I
Yeah.
said it to Mike off the podcast. I'm just not big on the Halo games. The story just doesn't do much for me. Compare it when
Well,
I just compare it to Call of Duty. Like when I think of like I think Halo 4 was the year Black Ops 2 came out. The Black Ops 2 story I loved. And that might just be because I played Black Ops 2 as a kid and now I'm playing Halo 4, how many years later, and maybe that's why I'm not getting as attached to Halo. But the only Halo game that I actually really liked was like ODST and then Reach. That's about it. I mean, the main Halo games I have not liked at all. Not at all, but they just feel like there's not much to the story. Cortana, I'm like, I don't give a shit about Cortana, dude. I'm sorry, but I don't.
you kind of have to just be there from the start. I hate to say it, but I mean, I grew up playing the game, so I became more attached to it. I did play Halo 4 when it came out, though, and I thought it was shit. I mean, I
Oh,
still think it's just not that good of a game. I mean, it's better than 5, don't get me
oh
wrong,
god, I
but
haven't played 5 yet, so you're telling me 5 is gonna be even worse?
don't bother. It's terrible.
Well,
It's
I
just a
gotta play
terrible,
it, dude,
terrible.
before Infinite
You
comes out.
don't. You really don't. Trust me. Um, no, they butcher, classic legacy characters like the Arbiter just by wasting them. Like the entire Lock Chief dynamic is pointless by the end of the game. It's terrible. But 4's problem is just it suffers from complete mediocrity. Like there's some good scenes between Chief and Del Rio, and I really like the Forward Unto Dawn. It's probably my favorite capital ship out of all of Halo. But that's about it. I mean, for the most part, the Prometheans suck as new enemies. They're very bullet spongy. I mean, the funny thing about, so you beat it, right? You
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
I talk about the ending. So when you kill the Didact, he doesn't actually die, right?
He
There's a
doesn't.
comic, there's a comic where he comes back and he's alive.
Oh,
And then, so they retcon that. And then he was going to be the main villain for Halo 5. and then they changed their script, midway through development. So then another comic came out where he died again. So they retconned the retcon. So just like Halo 4's story is entirely pointless for the most part, especially with Cortana.
So they have
Oh,
no idea
well,
what they're doing.
I'm not gonna say something because it'll spoil a part of 5, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's something Cortana does that's entirely pointless and kind of negates the
Dude, I
entire
just
story.
don't like Cortana. Like
Halo 4.
throughout all the Halo games I've played so far, I don't like Cortana. She's annoying. She like, oh,
Nah.
we're gonna go risk our life and risk everything to go get Cortana back to Earth. Like, go fuck yourself. She's an AI. Just get a new one. All right? Like, what are you gonna do?
Cortana's
Go have sex with her?
she's
Like,
the
come on.
she's the most advanced AI of her type,
Yeah,
though.
dude, shut the fuck up,
She's
bro.
a
She's
very
like 8 years
valuable
old.
asset. What are you
She is
talking
8 years
about?
old. Get a new update.
That's in 4, man. You
You
gotta
still got
play
your
1,
iPhone 1,
2,
bro?
3. I still have my iPod Touch 4, actually.
You still
We can
using it?
play this. No, well, it
Yeah.
died a long time ago. But Cortana's a different story. You can't be disrespectful to her like that, man. I mean, you have to really be there from the beginning. Play the original trilogy.
Well, I mean, I played the original trilogy, and I hated her in
Well,
those
did you
too.
pay attention? Did you pay attention?
I
Did
just
you
didn't
skip the
like her.
cutscenes?
I didn't like her. I didn't grow
I,
attached to her. I didn't give a shit about her.
I
Like,
think
I
you might
almost
be
cried when,
devoid of emotion.
spoiler alert for MW3, so skip like 10 seconds ahead if you care. But I fucking cried when like Soap died and that ghost and all that. But I didn't give a
Yeah,
shit about Cortana. Like, I don't. I'm like, oh yeah, if she dies, she dies. I mean,
it's terrible. Ivan Drago, if she dies, she
fuck them
dies.
AI. And then in other news, Little Hope I played, which is the
Oh my
second
god.
game in the Dark Pictures anthology. And all right, so Until Dawn came out from them. It was PS4 exclusive, whatever. That game was good. And I think everyone pretty much liked that game for the most part.
I haven't beaten it, but from what I played, I did like it.
I never beat it either. I never even played it, but I watched a lot of it on YouTube, and it was just really good. And then Man of Medan comes along, and it's absolutely a step down. But you're like, all right, whatever. You know, this was their first try independently, whatever. Now, the second game in this called fucking Little Hope. Oh my, it is terrible. All right. I have so many. I'm so happy I'm not writing a review on this. Like, I requested a review copy for this. We didn't get approved. For some reason, Bandai Namco hates us. I don't know why. They don't respond to me.
Which is unfortunate considering how many hours I pumped into Souls. They should love us, but
Yeah,
you
they
know,
just don't fucking
not good enough.
respond to me ever. Like, I'm trying to get like a little game, bro. Little Hope, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna respond to you. And this has happened. But yeah, dude, it's just not good. It is. Like, all right, it's supposed to be scary. There are about 50 fucking jump scares. It's the same jump scare. It's this little fucking ghost chick jumping up on your screen. And it scares you and it makes you jump. And then you're like, oh, that wasn't even scary. Like, that's not. It's such poor horror. And then the story, it's atrocious. Are you going to play it?
I've had it since day one.
Yeah, I remember you bought it. I'm like, how did you not play this? I mean,
It's
you
just
might
sitting
not
in the
need-
backlog. I do intend to play it. I also need to beat Man of Medan too, but I actually did play that. I just
You need to
didn't finish
fucking beat Until Dawn because that's the only good one.
that that one
But-
too. Yeah.
All right, just without spoiling too much, they really like slap you in the face based off all your choices that you made, and you're not going to want to replay this game. Like, these
So I
games
feel
are
like
supposed to
everybody's
be.
gonna die.
There's no, everyone can live in a way. That's all I'm going to tell you. In a way, they can all survive.
Oh yeah, they'll be stuck in the town forever as specters or
it's,
whatever.
yeah,
the
it's
fuck.
a really stupid concept what they do there with that. And you just look at it and you're like, oh, I don't want to replay this game now. So if I bought this at full price, I got it at like 50% off or whatever, I would be pissed off because those games you want to replay to see all the different endings. I watched all the endings on YouTube. They're all very similar. And I mean, the way that like the main story is that there's like 3 different layers going on at once. Like there's 3 different times. There's like the Blair Witch Trials time, not Blair Witch.
Blair Witch
I
Trial.
don't know why. Salem Witch Trial thing, and they have all the names. It's the people from the what was that book we read in high school? I don't know if you read this book. Salem
Hold
Witch
on.
Trials.
I don't. I've been to Salem and I visited the witch. Well, the
All right,
witches.
so then you know all
grave,
the people, John Proctor, Mary. So they all have like the same names as these in this game, and with a little hope. And it's like that whole concept, and then there's like another time frame that's like in the future a little bit, and then there's one even more in the future, which is your characters, and they're all like attached to an older person because it's just the story is such a reach, and it's very poorly made. That's all I'm gonna say. Again, your choices, like I nailed all these QTEs in this one section of the game, and the same result still happened. Like my character still ended up falling into this drain where you know I gotta escape the monster or whatever. And it's like I fucking nailed every QTE. I fucking did like the whole attack movement right, and you're still
Yeah,
just gonna be like, oh yeah, she's fucked anyway.
just doesn't matter. Let me ask you something though. How long is the game? How long did it take you to beat?
It's very short, like 4 hours.
Okay, that makes sense because I feel like if they would just chill out with this anthology stuff, just take their time with these releases, make them longer because if you're juggling three timelines, at the same time, you're gonna need more,
Yeah,
you're just gonna need more effort. You're gonna need, I don't want to keep using the word time, it's very redundant at this point, but you're gonna
yeah,
need a
dude.
lot more development time
And the
to,
game run like shit too. Like you would expect like a game like this that's like not anything crazy happening to run at like 60 FPS. Like sometimes it's 60, then it's like dropping down into the 20s, and I'm like, okay. And I played this on Xbox Series X in case anyone is wondering.
but the concept of the story is
Yeah, and like they
interesting.
already have their
It's just
next game coming out.
the
Like
game's way too short to just
in this
execute
game,
on it.
they had teasers for the next game that's coming out. Like you could
Yeah,
like
when
pick up a
you're in.
picture and it pulls like a video of the next game that's already coming out that has like Ashley Tisdale in it. They spend so much money on the character faces. Like the entire cast of this are all actors. Like the people they designed the faces on in all these games. They're fucking famous
Yeah.
actors. Like it was the one kid from the movie where they're selling the drugs and they're across the border. Jennifer Aniston's in. I can't remember it. We're the Millers. I think it's
Oh
the
yeah.
fucking the boy kid who gets his penis bit by the spider. I think that's the kid who's like the main character of this game. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like him a lot. Ashley Tisdale is in the third game that's coming out, I think, later this year. And I think they're trying to do like 2 games a year or whatever to do this whole fucking anthology. I'm just not a fan, and it's like the same concept as Man of Medan, which you'll understand once you play Man of Medan. But like the ending is like, oh, this major thing, and then the same thing happens at the end of this game, and then I'm pretty sure that in this third game it's gonna be like, oh, it was just the soldiers with PTSD. It's like not actual. I don't know. I'm going off on a rant now. It's just super massive. Be better. I'll still buy your games because Until Dawn was that good. But okay,
That is no, that's unfortunate to hear, and clearly hear your discontent.
I am very discontent.
I hope they do better. The next one's in Iraq, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like some militaries with you, and Ashley Tisdale's like a fucking geologist or some shit.
Oh, and they find something underground that they weren't
Yep.
supposed to. Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Sorry for that little cut in the video. Had some technical difficulties on my end, and not going to re-record the intro because that rant I'm going to hope took a little bit too long. So yeah, we're going to cut right into our next topic. So Embracer Group did a few acquisitions last week. So they acquired Gearbox for 363 million, Easybrain for 640, and then Aspyr Media for 100 million. So Mike, what are you thinking about this?
Well, I don't think Gearbox is worth the money. um,
I agree. I mean,
that Embracer paid for him. I mean, Microsoft passed them over for a reason. I mean, their only successful franchise is really Borderlands. Look at, the rest of their portfolio. What do they have? Aliens Colonial Marines, which they waited forever to actually get started on, then they outsourced to another company. Even though I kind of personally liked it, I kind of have a little fixation for bad games. It's just something that I like to, play and make fun of. It's a good time, like playing Ride to Hell Retribution or something like that. But, anyways, I really wanted that game to not be, bad but good. I just want it to be good. And, Gearbox is responsible for that game being the atrocity that it is. And then most recently they published Godfall, which if read my review on the gamepreview.com, I thought, I said it kindly there, but I'll say it bluntly here. The game's a piece of shit. I mean, I
it
gave it a
is.
4.5 and even upon reflection, I think that's too high. Like realistically, when I was playing it, I thought, 3.5, 4. But I mean, it's at least it works. It's competent mechanically somewhat. So have to give it at least above a 2 or a 3. But I didn't want to. I thought it was a waste of time. I didn't play it as excessively as other reviewers did, but I definitely got the gist of it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just don't think they're worth the money. I mean, they have Borderlands, which is a very popular IP, but even 3 was a, step down in quality from 2, definitely when it came to the narrative for sure. So I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a gamble. Hopefully, they do some restructuring. I don't want to burn any bridges here or insult anybody, but Randy Pitchford has got to go.
Yeah, I
he
think a lot of
definitely
people agree on that.
he definitely, makes that work environment hostile. He's a thief from his employees, and he is kind of a deviant, when it comes to other questionable aspects that I won't mention here, so we can actually have, views on our video. But he's not a good dude, and he definitely makes that studio a worse place to work, and he definitely, makes the quality of the game suffer for it. So hopefully having, a big brother or, a parental corporation over them will straighten him out or either get rid of him. I don't really have anything to say about the second company involved, but I will say,
Yeah,
Aspyr.
Easybrain, just for anyone wondering, it's an educational company, so you're not expecting no blockbuster games from them.
Yeah, like stuff for maybe like a Leapfrog tablet or
Yes,
something.
that's
I don't know. But Aspyr has done some good work. Nothing original really, but they did the resolution enhancements for PlayStation 4 for Jedi Knight Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight Jedi Outcast, which are actually really competent ports. I like them a lot. And I think they did it for Switch as well. Um and they also ported the original KOTOR over to iOS, which, in terms of, other other actual games ported to mobile, it runs really well, and it has a very competent control scheme as well, even for touchscreen. So I, if they are working on the KOTOR remaster or remake or whatever the rumored project is, that's definitely going to be a big gain for Embracer, which
definitely.
I feel like if they were developing that, there would have been more of a war to try and acquire them. So I don't know if they're actually the ones developing KOTOR at this point. I mean, again, officially, we don't even know if KOTOR's in development.
Yeah, it's
You know,
all rumors. I mean,
it is,
I trust
unfortunately.
Jason Schreier, and he's the one who said about Spire being involved with KOTOR. Um, but yeah, I mean, who knows what kind of deals they have in place with Disney and all that. I mean,
Yeah. And they
so
might want to do something that big internally, with now their
yeah,
Lucasfilm games.
I mean, even EA could be publishing this. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, I mean that deal could have been in place prior to this acquisition. So we
I
will
hope
not know
not.
until it gets announced, but we should hear about it later this year, hopefully. Now one thing I did want to mention about Embracer Group is the fact that they have 67 studios or something like that. Like that's like an unheard of amount. I don't want to call them a monopoly, but they're almost becoming a monopoly in the double
What
A.
else would you call that?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's a double A. They have a few triple A studios, but mostly double A games. And I mean, they're
yeah.
not bad games, but they're not great games. You're not going to be like, oh, game of
Well,
the year.
hold on. I mean, they did publish a Destroy All Humans remake, which was awesome. I
Yeah,
will
I
say
mean, they
that.
have some good games, but a majority of their games are just pretty simple double A games, nothing crazy. From Embracer Group, but then again, that is a giant content library, and I'm gonna hone us into our next topic, which is about Amazon. Let's just write down a timestamp real quick. But I mean, could you imagine like Amazon, who just their new CEO just came out and said, "Oh, we're committed to gaming." His name is Andy Jassy, by the way, or Jassy, not really sure, but he's saying that they're all in on game development. I
I
mean,
could
could they
imagine
go
that
acquire
if they said,
Embracer in like a hostile takeover? I mean, I don't think
well,
Embracer's worth
Embracer, I
that
don't.
much.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of private investors in Embracer, which they're quite
Isn't
affluent. So
Embracer public? They're a public
are
company.
they?
Yeah, they're a public
Mm,
company.
wait, they are.
Yes.
I might have to get some Embracer stock then.
I don't
Hold
think you
up.
can though, because they're a different country. So I don't think.
Oh,
I think it's similar to like how I think Ubisoft or one of these companies we can't invest in because it's like a
that
different
sucks.
exchange or something. But yeah, I mean they could potentially do a hostile takeover if they had if they believe they could do, which a hostile takeover is something that's very hard and expensive. But if they wanted to and say, all right, we're making our own console here, we have 67 studios. All just a conspiracy theory here, guys, but it's very much possible.
The Embracer
But
box. They don't have that good of a library though
yeah, I
to
know. But
develop a console in the future, though. Maybe if they keep on at it, if they keep acquiring studios. I mean, There's potential there. Maybe
Yeah,
10, 15 years down the line. Who knows? No one
but
expected
I mean,
Microsoft to make a console when they did.
Embracer's going to continue to acquire studios. A lot of these people are going to acquire studios. Tencent. I mean, we have some new Tencent acquisitions later in the video. We're going to talk about. EA made an acquisition, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Um, but yeah, everyone's just going to keep buying studios. We're in an arms race. It looks like Google's getting out. But it looks like Amazon is committed. So we'll have to see how committed they actually are and if they actually make some big acquisitions. But we will see. But in other news, we're going to move on to in our next topic.
Yeah, Google dropping out is like the USSR falling.
That is not wrong. It's not terrible. So in other news, Hitman 3's February content roadmap has released.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if we want, there are a few free updates coming into Hitman 3 throughout the month of February. You're going to get a few extra contracts, a
Most
few
of them are
escalations.
escalation. Yeah, most of them are escalation contracts, and then if you have the deluxe pack or you bought the deluxe edition, you get 2 deluxe escalations on the 23rd, where if you complete it, you'll get new outfits, new gadgets, and new weapons.
Yeah. So definitely cool to anyone who's still fiending over Hitman, Mike. So,
Yeah, I know a few people like that.
yeah, I'm sure you'll be grinding this when these come out.
Oh, for sure, I already have. I mean, when the first escalation of the month came out on the 4th, I believe, I was speed running it and I got to number 3 in the world and I was like, "Okay, I don't think I can replicate my most perfect run," so I stopped, but I almost got number 1 for the new one they put in Dartmoor, which was fun. But yeah, I think it's going to be some good content coming, especially since most of it's free. The next content drop is on the 11th, I believe, and it's with this, I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're a YouTube channel or some website called
Min
MinMax, and it's
Max, yeah.
yeah,
And then
featured
Kind of Funny's
contracts from
happening
them.
later in the month, so a lot of
Yeah,
cool
and I don't
partnerships
know how much
happening.
they play Hitman, so I don't know if their contracts are gonna be good or shit, but I
Yeah,
guess
I
I'll
don't know
find
either.
out. I'm just really excited for the deluxe escalations more than anything because that's, the developer made content and definitely what the most effort has been put into, at least until we get those map reworks they were talking about or DLC contracts, like full on new
Yeah,
locations. I don't know. I'm glad that they're supporting it. I suspect they'll probably be going at this rate for maybe the next year or so, and then they'll probably transfer everybody to Project 007. But I
makes
imagine
sense.
as, development progresses, post launch for Hitman 3, more and more people working on the game will be poached to
Yeah,
move to Project 00. So probably will teeter out towards the end of the year. But for now, we're going to be getting a lot more Hitman 3. And in my book, that's a great thing
it's always
because I have like 74, 75 hours in it at this point, the
Jesus
third
Christ. Yeah, I gotta play some more, but yeah, it's a really good game. It's one of the best stealth games in a very long time. I mean,
Yeah, I can tell you it's going to be in my top 5, if not top 3 for the year. I mean, I know Village is probably going to be game of the year, but if Elden Ring comes out, that's going to definitely be up there. So I don't know, but Hitman 3 is definitely going to be in the top 5, 100%.
sounds good.
So
All right. So to anyone who was interested in a certain franchise called Prince of Persia, I got some bad news for you, or maybe some good news. It
no, it's
depends on how
good
you look at it.
news.
It is
It's
good
definitely
news.
good news.
So Ubisoft announced they're delaying it, and no date for when it's getting delayed to, which usually means that they're doing some big changes to it, which is good. It needed
It
some big
needs
changes
it.
if you ever saw the
If
gameplay.
you saw that trailer, if you saw the gameplay, that thing needed to just go back to
Yeah.
the fiery depths of hell from which it
I
came.
don't get how Ubisoft does this all the time. Like they'll make, all right, we're making a
Oh,
remake or a
they get
remaster,
away with it. They get
and then
away
it
with
looks
it.
like
That's
complete shit. Like the
ridiculous.
AC3 remaster, it debatably looked worse than like the original
Well,
game.
I don't know. I liked having AC3 on Switch portable. That was pretty cool. And the remaster was fun to play through. But, I had so much fun with the combat of the remaster. I played through the DLC because I never did for AC3. I never owned it. And I
Good.
played through the DLC on the remaster. And the Tyranny of King Washington, especially the second episode, was one of the buggiest things I have ever played in my life. People want to talk about Cyberpunk being broken.
Dude,
They should have played this when the remaster first came out. It was abhorrent, worse than
I didn't even
any
play the DLC. I played fucking like an hour of the first DLC. I couldn't stand it. I just stopped playing it. I said, nope, not for me. Just
Yeah, no, it's just a technical nightmare. At least it was. I don't know how it is now, but and then their Far Cry 3 remaster, the classic edition, was
yeah,
just enhanced lighting and foliage, which
they do
again
this all the
looked
time.
nice
It's
on my
like,
it looked nice on my TV, but like other than that, I'm like, this is Far Cry 3 with no enhancements, really.
yeah,
They do it all the time because they get away with it, and they bundle it in with season passes, so you can be like, oh well, you don't really have to pay for it, but if you don't want the new game because more likely than not it's going to be shit, you have to buy it separately and it's going to be at an increased price from where it should be. I'm sorry, this Ubisoft gets me very heated because they are some of the scummiest. Like, I'm talking about the suits, not the developers, even though I will say a lot of the developers, they have 20,000 of them. A lot of them are untalented. Just because you have that many, not all of them are gonna be, Jade Raymonds or Amy Hennigs or people like that. You're gonna have, cannon fodder essentially with that many bodies. So it's just and the suits don't give a shit as long as the bottom line isn't impacted, which you just said they had a great quarter.
oh
So
yeah,
it's
fucking
clearly not,
amazing quarter,
because people are feeding into their nonsense with their microtransactions shoved into every single player game. I'm sorry.
dude. I mean,
I
Odyssey had more players in 2020 than it did during its launch year. Like, I mean, that's crazy to think about.
Odyssey's good, but it's not Assassin's Creed. There was not even a single assassin in the game until the DLC.
Yeah,
Like, come on. And I don't know if you saw his tweet from ACG the other day, but he said that now in Valhalla, 50% of the armor
yeah, I
sets
saw that.
are
That's
microtransactions.
it.
You have
They
to pay
always
real.
just do this shit, and it's so scummy. They'll just add it in at the end, and a lot of companies do. I don't want to single out Ubisoft. There's a lot of
But
these
they are
corporations.
a significant offender.
Yeah, definitely.
Ubisoft does it a lot. I mean, you know, Ubisoft might launch their games, an example, Watch Dogs Legion. It might be glitchy as shit. It might not have its multiplayer mode ready, but you can bet your ass when you press the pause button, there will be a store tab all the way on the right, day one, and that will work flawlessly. I guarantee you, whatever currency they invent for whatever game they come out with, that will work just fine day one, no matter what other issues the game may have, when it comes to bugs or just narrative or gameplay quality. They will always have their microtransactions working, and it's disgusting and despicable. And I really can't stand Ubisoft anymore because I know they're going to put it into the Star Wars game, and that breaks my heart, wrenches it. And I
Yeah,
miss the Ubisoft that made Far Cry 2, Splinter Cell Conviction. Where are these guys? I don't even think it's not the same people anymore.
they're
It's just
MIA. Move to greener pastures.
mm,
But
or more
something that
accurately, out behind the barn.
oh yeah, where they got put down. But something
Yeah,
that I think will excite you, maybe. Killer Instinct may be making a return.
that does
Um,
excite me a little bit.
yeah. So according to Jeremy of Xbox Two, which is a podcast, he said that Killer Instinct is not dead. Someone else confirmed it, called Sheepsville Ed, who is the co-host of the Xbox Era podcast. Jeff Grubb also came out and said he knew about this. So they're all coming out and saying that Killer Instinct is not dead. Um, they want to make it have a return, but there's nothing actually happening yet because they don't have a developer for it. Which is why WB made a lot of sense acquisition there, but with NetherRealm. But
If NetherRealm got to make Injustice, Mortal Kombat, and Killer Instinct, oh my god, I would love to see a NetherRealm Killer Instinct. That'd be incredible. Oh, the possibilities. But it's no wonder that because the thing is, it was kind of a success, but it wasn't because they made it free to play, and they would have a free character every day or every week or something, or every couple of days, whatever it was, and then it would cycle through to a new character so you could experiment and see what you liked. And
yeah,
then if you want to buy a character, it would be $5 per that character. And as you want to buy more characters, you just have to keep buying characters. And as they added characters, so on and so forth. So I mean that model definitely has its benefits, but then when you have people download it even for free, you're just gonna have that instinct that, oh, it's not a complete game. When I get a game like Mortal Kombat, I don't have to worry about, a lacking roster because I know they're always going to have a substantial amount of content to choose from and characters to master and play and switch off from. Killer Instinct, even though it's free, you're not going to have that freedom, and people aren't willing to necessarily keep piling on with microtransactions. They would more rather just buy one package at once and then that's the end of it. So I
Yeah.
think if they get a solid developer for it, definitely modernize it because it was a little bit clunky, even the remake, compared to Mortal Kombat or Injustice standards, hell, even Street Fighter. So if they get, a competent dev, NetherRealm would be perfect. Maybe even if they don't buy WDB, they can work out some licensing arrangement. Um, make it happen, make it modernized, make it, you don't have to rip off, fatalities or anything, but definitely make it more graphic and gory and bring Killer Instinct into the modern age because that's an IP that definitely still has potential. It's not done yet by any means. I'm
Yeah.
glad it's not dead.
Okay, so we will move on to our next topic. So up next, a little bit of two topics combined here, but E3 has announced that they're going to be pushing forward its plans for a digital 2021 event, which will be in June. 3 days of live stream content, remote game demos, and more. But the one thing that was hidden more deep in the article is the fact that it's going to cost a publisher a six-figure sum if they want to join the program, which I don't see that many people doing it considering it's an online event.
A
Um,
six-figure sum?
yeah, especially
Wait, a
when
six, like a
six fi-
hundred thousand, like a
over a
hundred
hundred
thousand
thousand,
dollars or
a hundred
upwards?
thousand plus to
I
join
thought
this.
I thought it was just like 6 grand. I thought in your DM it said.
No, 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 no. Especially when we consider the fact that Jeff Kiley just announced that the Summer of Game Fest will be making a return this year, and it's going to be a much more condensed experience. It's going to be under a month, and it's free. Do that with Jeff Kiley, and you're essentially having the same fan bases here, same advertising backing. So why would you go and spend all that money to go do it with E3 when you could just be like, all right, Jeff Kiley, Summer Game Fest. I mean, they're going to advertise it. Why not? I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know
I
who's going
know.
to pay that. So I don't think E3 is going to happen.
I
I
mean, I know for sure if I was an indie dev, I would cut costs wherever I could so I could put more into development. So, Summer Games Fest is definitely going to draw them. And I know if I'm a big publisher, I'm a greedy son of a bitch, and I want to conserve costs wherever I can. So I'll just
yeah,
go
like
with
I
Summer
don't
Games
see
Fest again.
Nintendo being like, oh, we need to go to E3. Like I don't see Nintendo going with Summer Game Fest either. I just see Nintendo being like,
Yeah, I mean
fuck you guys, we'll be in fucking August, like on some random
yeah,
Tuesday.
they have their own thing, they
They
have
have enough
Nintendo
power. I mean,
Directs.
same with Sony. I mean, they could do it whenever. I
Yeah.
expect Sony and Microsoft to make a return during the month of June, but I don't think it'll be with E3. I think it'll just be like their own events, and they'll be partnered with the Summer Game Fest thing, and that'll be that.
I don't know, Microsoft could work out a deal with E3 where, like the last E3, there was, I'm pretty sure this was the last E3, Microsoft was the only big publisher there. So they got the most spotlight, the most attention, and they might be able to work out a similar deal there if they don't want to do their own thing. But
Nah,
they
dude.
could.
Last year in 2020, it was just Microsoft was on its own.
Well, no, last
Unless you're
year
talking about
there
the year
was no
before that,
E3.
like the
Yeah,
last.
I
All
said
right, yeah, I got you.
like
Yeah,
the last E3 before, the Corona and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
I got you. Yeah, I don't know. I think E3 is. It was on its knees, and now they're doing this, and this just seems like a really stupid thing to do.
Yeah, at
Like
least
you know
lower
it's
the
going to be
price.
digital, offer it free, and try to get as many because you had people already leaving 2 years ago, and then you had COVID, which everyone obviously did their own things, and it worked out for them relatively. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny when I thought you said 6K, 6 grand to be at E3. I thought that was steep.
No, 100,000 plus. So
Yeah,
I could
no way.
potentially like because I used to be like $1 million if you wanted the stage for yourself at a show, or like a few million or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but if you wanted your own showcase time, that's what it was. So I mean, they're trying to recoup some of that cost, but you have no expenses doing this for E3. It's not like they need to have to pay for an event center or anything like that. They're paying for a digital event. Like that doesn't cost any money to host a live stream, really.
Yeah, there's no floor
So
space
there's no
needed,
reason
to
for them to
rent
be,
out
oh, we're going to
anything.
charge fucking $200,000.
Well, greed.
And they
That's the
didn't
reason.
announce any numbers on how many developers signed up or anything like that.
Not many, if I were to
So,
hazard a guess.
but that is that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Something else that we'll have to wait and see about. Um,
Anthem?
yes, you guessed it. Anthem. This week, EA will be deciding whether they want to progress with Anthem next, or if they want to can everything. Um, So if they do decide to progress with it, they're going to hire or at least allocate 3 times the amount of people, and so they can get working on it and get it done faster. Or they cut their losses and just say screw it. I don't know if they would release what they have or just cut it all completely. But
Well, I'll tell you, I would like them to continue it because I, like an idiot, spent $80 on the Legion of Dawn edition, so I would like to, get the game that I paid for, even if I have to wait for it. Because they said that when they're done with this upgrade, all existing Anthem players will get the upgrade for free. So, I mean, again, if they cancel development, they're going to break that promise, which again is no surprise because the entirety of Anthem's development cycle was a massive lie in and of itself. So, um, but again, no, I'd like to get what I paid for, but if I'm EA, I don't really see the profitability in continuing it. I mean, think about it this way, and I know I was talking to you about this in private, but I want to mention it here. BioWare is working on Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Mass
yes,
Effect 4, Dragon Age 4, and then the Anthem rework. And BioWare's last few games, being Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, were, definitely subpar for their quality. So the fact that they've been pretty incompetent as of late, and I wouldn't say incompetent with Andromeda, but I definitely would with Anthem, and they've just lots of rumors about Dragon Age 4 being a live service, and then now they're retconning Andromeda, or at least they're going back on it a little bit. Like, they can't really, what I'm trying to say nicely is that they're not the Bioware they used to be. So along with their recent stumblings, and with having that much of an excessive workload, I feel like if they had to drop something, Anthem would definitely be the immediate thing they would go to cancel.
yeah,
And I want the rework, I want the update, but if I had to go with my gut, I would say that Anthem is gonna, die this week.
I
But that's
agree.
my take on it. I
I
want to know what
kind
you
of agree. I mean, 3 times the staff. I don't know how many people are working on it right now, but that just seems like a lot. You're going to multiply your staff by 3 times. I mean, Anthem's player base, I can't imagine is that big anymore. I mean, most people have probably moved on.
I don't think it's existent anymore, to be honest.
Exactly. I mean, they didn't really. I mean, I enjoyed the gameplay of Anthem when I played. The
The
story was
Javelin
the
suit
end
was
game
good,
content was but the gameplay was fun. Flying around, it felt very good.
but the
But
loot sucked.
and I
That's the
mean,
most
you could kind of tell that. I don't want to say that Bioware didn't care about Anthem, but
they
I
did
mean,
not
when they
care.
have Christmas decorations up like 2 months later, it's like February, and the Christmas decorations are still up. You can kind of tell that no one's paying attention to this game. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, especially when well, you beat the main story, right?
Yeah.
So you remember halfway through the game where they hit you with just a massive grind wall to progress
Oh,
into
dude,
the next part of the
that was
story?
so fucking stupid.
All the
I was
tombs.
enjoying it until that point, and that's the
Oh
point where I
yeah.
got so pissed off.
I mean, I still did it because I thought there was gonna be, good
I did it
stuff
too,
after,
but
and I was wrong. Originally they wanted to have real life timers in between doing the tombs, so it would have to take you even longer. So you'd be forced to
that's
not
fucking
do them
ridiculous.
in a game that
And,
you pay $60 for.
and dude, the lack of side content in this game, like the demo. I don't know if you played the
Unbelievable.
demo, but the demo
I did.
had I think 50% of the side content that ended up being in the game that released. Like, when you release a demo, you're like, oh, it has to be because it's a small portion. No, there was like one other side quest storyline in the actual game. I was like, what the fuck's this? I mean,
Yeah, I did all the side content, and it really did not take that long because I really did enjoy, like you, the gameplay of the javelin suit.
yeah,
But that was it. And the gunplay felt good, but it was just honestly an enhancement of Andromeda's gunplay, which is an enhancement of Mass Effect.
exactly.
The original trilogy's gunplay. So Anthem didn't. It's an
Just,
aberration. It's an abomination. It's an abhorrent abomination.
I agree.
And I like how they're trying to go the Frankenstein's monster route with it, trying to like build it back together piece by piece and rework it. But again, it just might be more trouble than it's worth to the publisher. But we'll find out this week. I just hope that we get an answer this
Yeah.
week. So we'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully this week, like you said, but I would imagine they announce it this week as well, or at least
Uh,
it gets leaked at the very least. I mean,
yeah,
Jason Schreier knew about it, so he has to have someone inside on EA, pretty high up, so he should get an idea. But Let me just write down the timestamp. So in other news, Forza 4 will be coming to Steam. Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4.
Not
I was
Forza
about
4.
to
We're
say.
not going to Blast in the Past. But March 9th. So right around the corner. And I mean, it's been on PC on Microsoft Store and Game Pass. So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
been
this
on
isn't
PC
huge
since
news,
launch.
but uh, Xbox games have sold really well on Steam. I mean, Sea of Thieves did a lot. Flight Simulator did a lot. Halo did a lot. So
Gears as
yeah, I mean,
well.
when these games come over to Steam, they sell a lot. I don't know why some people can't just play it on. I know the Microsoft Store kind of sucks, but it's gotten
I
better,
mean,
especially with the Xbox beta app on PC now. But I
it's just
understand
easy
some
to
people
have
like all their
everything.
stuff in one spot.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
convenient,
It's just,
achievements, and all that. But
I don't know. I mean, Forza Horizon 4 is definitely the best out of the Horizon games.
yeah,
If you have not played it and you've been waiting for it to come to the platform of your choice, and Steam just so happens to be that platform, I would definitely go for it. I mean, the amount of content in that game, just from events to races to cars to properties you can buy. I mean, the amount of exploration too. I mean, the map itself is beautiful. Now on Series X, you don't have to compromise between 4K and 60. You can have both, and it's just beautiful to look at. I mean, Forza Horizon 4 is just probably the best racing game out there right now. Definitely puts Gran Turismo to shame, that's for sure.
yeah,
But I mean, come on, let's be honest. Forza's been doing that for years now. So, I mean, I'm sorry, I am a little bit of a Forza elitist, but I mean, when they make games that are that good, how could I not be? Um, and I love Xbox too. Regardless, before I get too far off topic, if you have not played it and you are on Steam, you'd be shooting yourself in the foot by not giving it a try because
definitely.
it is a game of immense quality, and I cannot wait for 5
Yep.
wherever they take it to.
And they also announced some new DLC coming out with it as well. Hot Wheels, so you'll have a little bit of new content to check out too.
Yeah,
But
they had Hot Wheels in 3 and it
yeah,
was awesome. So
so exciting stuff. And
because it's not like, for those who don't know, it's not like actual Hot Wheels cars. I mean, like sometimes I think it can be in other releases, but it's whatever cars you have now, just real life size Hot Wheels tracks in the
it's cool.
maps of the game. So you go upside down, do loop loops and barrel rolls and whatnot. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Completely, if a physics major was to walk in and watch you play it, they'd probably rip your head off. But it's good fun.
it
Who
is good
cares what
fun.
they think?
That's all you need in gaming. Some good fun. So just a quick little mention here, nothing major. But GTA 5 in 2020, it has sold more copies than it did in any other year besides its launch year, which was 2013. So that's why GTA 6 is not coming, you fucking imbeciles, including this guy right here on the other end of the screen.
Listen, man, it was for the
And myself,
online
actually. Shit, I bought it in 2020 as well. Fuck. I
for
bought
the
it on PC, I think, in either 2020 or 2019. I don't remember.
during
No,
Black Friday, it was $15 for the online premium edition, and since
I
people
did
at
that
Rock
same exact thing. I bought that on Steam
and
for $15 for the.
and because people at Rockstar, or well, at least the online department of Rockstar, since they're, to be honest, assholes, and they won't let me transfer back my PC character to Xbox, which I brought from 360 to Xbox One to PC, and now I can't bring it back to Xbox. It's stuck on there, my level 150 with all of my shit. So I wanted to have at least a little bit of a financial boost, even though it was very insignificant in the long run, when I want to play with my friends on an Xbox. So I just got it again because it's cheap and I didn't have a physical copy anymore, and I do enjoy the single player. So I think that's kind of justified. I think that's justifiable reasoning a little bit, but to everyone else, piss off, stop buying it. No, I have no right to say
Dude,
that.
isn't that
That's
just
incredibly
crazy to.
hypocritical. But I just it disappoints me. I'm disappointed in myself more than anything, but just the overall situation that disappoints me. Because this is the reason we're not getting GTA 6. It is.
Dude, that's just like nuts to think about, though. That it just did that much. I mean, dude. Like, and
Yeah.
I mean, it was free on Epic for, I think, a week or whatever. So a ton of people got it for free through the Epic Game Store like that. It was on Game Pass for, 6 months or whatever. So a ton of people played it through those ways for super cheap. And then this many people still bought it for like 15 to $30 or whatever. That, and it's copies. It's not, that's just nuts. I mean, good for them, bro. I mean, you make a good game and then you add a fun multiplayer, it's gonna do numbers.
Yeah,
And
I did uninstall GTA like 2 weeks ago because just every time you get into a game, there's some prick with an oppressor Mark II, which is a flying motorcycle with missiles on it. And just no matter what you try and do, they destroy you and blow you up or whatever. And then, I'm not the I'm not the type of guy to buy shark cards. I
yeah,
was when I was younger, but now I don't. Um, and so, all the money I have in game, which is not much because I earn it through all the facets you can within the game world, which again is a very slow and steady grind. Um, I just don't have that much disposable income, and then these pricks come along on their flying motorcycles that takes, a lot of rockets to take down because it goes super fast, and the homing missile launcher can only fire so quickly, and has to lock on as well. It's just you spend at least, 10 grand on missiles to refill your ammo when you're done. And then if you do shoot the bastard down, of course it counts as a personal vehicle. So you have to pay an insurance fee of 10K. So just to stop a guy from killing you, you have to pay $20,000. And then he can just go and get it again and
yeah.
repeat the process. And again, it takes a long time to earn that amount of money just by playing the game. So I installed it. Fuck GTA Online. I really hope, 2020 was, the last of it, and then people just start they
It
just
won't
start
be. They have the next gen version coming out in 2021. That's gonna sell so much. That's
I
gonna sell. They're gonna make so much money on that. I think it's either 2021 or 2022. I'm not sure. But GTA 6 is just so far, and it's a shame, but
it is a
it's so
shame.
far away. Because I mean, they're gonna sell this, and they're gonna want to have this for at least like 2 years in between before GTA 6 comes along.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm definitely not gonna get it if they don't let me transfer my PC character to Xbox again. I'm not gonna get it. I'll have no reason to. But maybe they do, and I end up buying GTA 5 for the fourth, fifth time, whatever it is now. So it's really going the Skyrim route,
Yeah, it's that's just crazy, bro.
which Skyrim is gonna turn 10 this year. Just
Yeah.
crazy to think about. But
In other news, EA has announced that they have acquired Glu Mobile, which that's not big news, but the big news is how much they paid for it. They paid $2.4 billion for it, which is an
whoa.
absurd amount of money. Like when you consider
Yeah, I've
that
never even
all
heard of that.
Bethesda cost, I think it was 7 million. I mean, then you have EA doing this level of acquisition for a mobile company. I'm sure they're gonna make a buttload over from this deal, but still, I mean that's
Yeah, what do
crazy.
they make?
Well, the cover art to the picture I'm looking at right now is a Kim Kardashian game.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so
Never
they're all
mind.
just like, let me see if I can find out on the other games they've worked on.
Well, it's gonna be nothing quality. Mobile gaming just as a whole.
Deer Hunter 2017, Contract Sniper, some baseball games, some home design game. They're like a
Some of
monopoly
it
over the whole mobile game. Like they have like a Gordon Ramsay
good.
game, a Kim Kardashian game. Yeah, so they're gonna make a ton of money off these games, but
That's unfortunate.
yeah. Our next smaller topic here that we just have like squeezed in at the end. Bloodborne, which we mentioned earlier. Um, it got a 60 FPS patch from Lance McDonald, which is very cool. But you
Oh my
need a PS4 that is jailbroken to be able to play it, which is the unfortunate part. So,
I'm devastated. I'm crestfallen. I mean, if anybody watching this has been sticking with the podcast for a while now, you'll know that Bloodborne is my favorite game of all time.
I
So
mean, you could always just jailbreak your PS4.
when I heard that this patch is in development, I was like, ooh, finally, what I've always wanted, what everybody's always wanted from Bloodborne is just 60 FPS. It's not much to ask for. It's very doable by From Software or Sony, but they're just procrastinators, so they didn't want to do it. So this absolute lad, Lance McDonald, this hero in my eyes, he's very admirable, comes along and he's done Bloodborne content for a long time. I've been watching him way before he started development of this mod because he just did, a lot of experimentation with like the Bloodborne Alpha. He had a PS4 with that on, so you could see some pre-release content. It was very interesting and just some out of bounds stuff as well. Just very fascinating material. If you're a Bloodborne fan, I would go check out his videos. If you like cut content and bosses as well, and you can actually get like one of the boss fights to actually come into game. It's glitchy as hell, but it's really interesting. If you love Bloodborne, go watch his channel. You'll like the stuff. So when I heard he was making this patch, I was really blown away, very excited for it. And then it releases today, and hey, you need a modded PS4. And I'm not gonna lie, of course, I went on eBay right after and I looked for jailbroken PS4s just to play this patch because that is how much I love Bloodborne. And they're just none there. I imagine that they have some rules against that, so
Well,
I
I
have
mean,
to
I
figure out
imagine you could. I don't
how to.
think it's that complicated to do it. I
I
believe
don't
in you.
wanna do it to my own, though.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't wanna buy a PS4 just to try and jailbreak it, mess something up, and then I can't, like, return it or whatever, and then I have just, like, a broken system. I don't know, I'd
Yeah.
have to look up a tutorial or something and do it, but I'm tempted because you could get a really cheap PS4 base model for, like, 150, 200
But
bucks
if
that
you
can
have the
just
base model, you're not going to be able to really run it at 60 FPS. You really need the Pro. Yeah, and it's like, but that's just the thing that sucks is like the PS5 can absolutely handle this at 60 FPS. There's no
Yeah.
reason it can't. Sony needs to get one person to do this. I mean, look, this guy just did it by himself, and they could easily just kind of rip him off and do what he did, or
All
they
they
can
would
give him
have to
credit
do
and
all
they
they
can
would have
just
to do is unlock the frame rate. That's all they would have to do.
yeah.
Just unlock it. It's probably one
Well,
little
no,
line of
you
code.
can't just unlock the frame rate because there is something to do with like how they developed it with Bloodborne. There's just a weird thing, so that's
Oh,
why
yeah,
Lance had to
it's
do the thing with the patch. But
probably have to make the combat sync up with it. Yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely
but I
what it
mean,
is.
if Lance was able to do it, right? There's no reason that anyone from Sony can't do it.
Oh, of course not. I'm not making excuses for them. Not at all. They should be able they could do it in a day.
And I feel like they have to be just working on a Bloodborne like, remaster that they're going to try to sell.
I
That would
would
be the
hope
only thing that makes sense to me.
I would
Because
buy
I
it.
mean, this is not hard to do for free.
No, it's really not. I
But
expected it when the PS5 was coming out. I really did, especially when they announced it as part of that PlayStation Plus collection or whatever
yeah,
it's called. So the fact
I
that
mean, you
they
see God of War get a 60 FPS patch and all these other games like Days Gone and all this other
the
stuff.
fact
It's
that
like,
they advertised it for PS5, but it still runs on PS5 just like it would on a base jet engine PS4. That's
yeah,
not very next gen of them.
yeah. I mean, who wants to
Um,
play this at 30 FPS when you know you can play it at 60? I mean, the game's from what 2015. Like, come on.
yeah, and it looks beautiful at 30. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Just it would look so much better and crisper at 60. Just it would be leagues better.
All right.
Definitely kinder to the eyes. That's for sure.
Yeah. But in other news, CD Projekt Red has been hacked.
Yeah,
The
this was
hackers are making demands. This feels very similar to what happened with Capcom. And if you're following the Capcom situation, you know how that ended. Ton of
yeah.
stuff about Resident Evil 8 got leaked. Ton of
We
insider
know what
info
they're
got
making
leaked.
for like the next 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
from that Capcom.
Now I don't know how serious this CD Projekt Red one is, and if they're gonna, start leaking shit. But CD Projekt Red said they're not paying their demands, so I mean
Good
maybe
on them.
these guys are about to just pull out all the shit on what went wrong with Cyberpunk, even though we probably already know, just that they can't handle being leaders over there. But yeah, I mean, obviously you hope that nothing too important got leaked, but
Well, unfortunately, I think some personal information for employees, like addresses and stuff, was leaked or could be exposed with this, and that's terrible. No one's just because, like, listen, you have every right to hate. I'm not saying you, Frank, because I know you don't have this opinion, but you have every right to hate Cyberpunk 2077.
yeah,
But you have no right to wish harm on the people who made it. The reason Cyberpunk turned out the way it did was because of incompetence from their leadership. The people who made the game were just going to their jobs and trying to make a living. So the fact that they could be personally affected from this in a negative way is completely wrong. And if the hackers are going to dump everything, they're saying the source code for Cyberpunk, Witcher 3, the unpatched, unreleased version of Witcher 3, a bunch of stuff,
yeah,
a bunch of internal memos and files. I hope they have some shred of morality and they just leave the devs out of it.
yeah.
But
Did
I
you know
don't
that
think.
Saber Interactive was working on the Witcher 3 upcoming update? Because I know they worked on the Switch thing, and I mean they're
Yeah,
from New Jersey. I
they
mean,
worked on the Switch port. Are they?
yeah,
Oh,
They're one of
Yeah,
the
no,
few New Jersey game companies.
and Switcher is very competent. I will
Yeah,
say as a port, it
they did a
works
pretty good
really
job with
well.
that.
And honestly, I wouldn't play it, on your TV with the Switch, but I
Yeah,
would definitely play it in portable mode because it's actually pretty nice to look at.
yeah. In other news, our second to last topic. Just write the timestamp. 1 second. So Tencent has acquired a minor stake in Bohemia Interactive, which is known for the Arma games and DayZ. So Tencent just continues to just keep buying minority stakes in all these companies, and it's
You
not going
know,
to
I
end.
I figured this would have happened sooner, honestly, because they, invested in Bluehole really early on. And people who don't know, Bluehole is the developer behind PUBG. And if you also don't know the history of PUBG, PUBG started as an Arma 2 mod, because well, the guy who made PUBG made Daisy, and Daisy was a mod for Arma 2.
Yeah,
And PUBG's just overall concept was heavily inspired by Daisy as a whole, just like not being able to trust everyone, just fighting for yourself and getting loot and surviving, except they want to turn it into like it's just a multiplayer centric, not even focusing on like zombie survival, but just more survival of the fittest. And that's kind of where PUBG came from. So I would have thought that, since they really got it on the ground floor with Bluehole, that they would have recognized where it came from and invested in Bohemia earlier. But I mean, I guess better late than never in their case. But to me, this was expected at some point. But I will say I do really like Arma 3, and I don't like that, Tencent is going to have a hand in Arma 4 now.
yeah.
Especially since, everything that Tencent does is backed by the CCP. And we here at the Game Preview are not fans of the CCP. So it's just, I wish they would stop, but there's nothing I can do to make them.
Nothing at all. Just gotta hope
That a
that they
Johnny
don't do
Silverhand
anything too
comes
drastic.
along. You just gotta hope that a Johnny Silverhand comes along and pulls an Arasaka Tower.
All right, we do not condone that at the game preview. Please
No,
do
it's
not.
just a joke, just a joke.
FBI, open up. All right, and for our final topic of the video, oops, I can't type. Our final topic of the video, Crash 4 has announced that its next gen version will be coming to PS5, Xbox Series S, and then there'll also be a Switch and Switch version coming on March 12th. And then also it's going to be coming to PC through the Battle.net store. Yeah, so you get a free upgrade
That's
if you
gonna
had the
be
PS4
later.
or Xbox One version. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Nothing crazy on the enhancements or anything like that. But
Yeah, well, the PC version's coming later in the year, I think. Xbox,
yeah,
PS5, and Switch is launching all on the same day, I believe, but PC
yeah,
is coming.
it's gonna cost $40, which I don't remember if that's the Switch version is
Uh,
gonna cost $40.
yeah, it launched for
PC is 40
60,
bucks.
but
Normal one's still 60. Yeah, but adaptive triggers, a few other of your just normal things that you would see in the next gen version. So
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
interesting if you haven't checked out.
I have it for PS4, so I'll probably just end up popping it in my PS5 for the free upgrade.
Makes
I
sense.
still haven't beaten it, so I mean, if they're utilizing the adaptive triggers, I mean, might as well get back to it then. As hard as I remember it being from what I played, I honestly had a really fun time with it. That was one of the best platformers I played in recent memory for sure, and I love
Yeah,
the
I
art
rage quit on
style
Crash
too.
1, dude. So
The art style is right up my alley, and I love all the different powers you can have in the new one. And I know Crash isn't really based off of, its story is not the most important aspect of it, but they're always fun, and I definitely like this one as well. And Toys for Bob did a really good job. I don't understand how they're still around and Vicarious Visions isn't, but I wish they both still had their sovereignty. That's a little bit off topic, even though Vicarious did do the insane trilogy. But no, four is very good, and if you haven't played it and you have a next gen system and you want to test it out with enhanced visuals, you should. If you like platformers and if you don't mind being infuriated a little bit from time to time.
definitely. Well, on that note, guys, that is all the topics we have. Thank you guys for watching. We shall see you in the next one. Adios.
See you next week, everyone.